My event in Portland is done. I'm ready to leave the worst city I've ever been to, just total filth, and I'm heading south now.
Ah! Just kidding.
I went to Crater Lake National Park in the middle of Oregon. Once you get out of the cities, Oregon is pretty nice, actually. I didn't read what the National Park Service said about the geological formations of Crater Lake, but I would guess they stated that the lake is 6 gorillion years old, and magma took on consciousness to create the beauty of the lake. It was hard to enjoy it because I had a 6-hour drive before it. So I only stayed for 1 hour, but I was still tense because when you're driving. Unfortunately, in this part of the country, my drives are getting longer. So it's a lot of driving, especially Monday through Thursday. I'm driving. Friday through Sunday, it's the events. Instead of seeing another beautiful mountain, I just really want to lay in a bed for 24 hours. That's what I really need right now. But I can tell you this. If you have made a God out of novelty, you will fail real quick. If I traveled to experience in this tour to see novelty, I'm only in my 3rd month. There's nothing really new that is left. I saw the mountains, I saw the lakes and the trees, the cities. This new lake is reminding me of the previous one. This mountain reminds me of the other one. So in just 3 months on the road, the novelty effect, the dopamine rush you get from something new, it wears out. And I did this in the past methodically with women. Each woman was new. Each woman was like a new mountain to conquer. But they weren't that different. Once they're in bed, I mean, this one says these words, that one says that word. Their body is a little bit different, but, you know, if you are using novelty as a goal, particularly around women, travel, music, food, drinks, you're going to hit a dead end really fast, because how different can things get? That's not the purpose of your life, to experience different things. Different things happen to you, and some of it gives you joy, but if you chase it, if you have a goal of chasing something new, you're just going to fry your brain out. You have to increase the dosage so the dopamine comes, but there's nothing else different. Now I only see the mountains to show it because I have a vlog, and the vlog serves as, I guess, indirect marketing to make sure my tour is successful. But I don't need to see another mountain. I'm still absorbing the Rocky Mountains that I saw a month ago. I think in the old times you lived in the village, you saw one mountain every 3 years probably. But this nonstop travel now, I see the flaw. It's just it's like you're just a child in a toy store, and this catches your attention and that, but that's not a healthy way or proper way to live. And I'm glad I can see it now, but the main point of my tour is the events that I am doing. So and that is a little bit better. I don't seek a dopamine rush when I speak in front of people, just sharing my story and connecting with them. I think it's a little bit healthier. But right now I'm in a cabin in the middle of nowhere. It's not a city. It's really dark. I didn't know how much city lights illuminate everything. I can see the stars, and it's quiet. You can hear all of the insects. It's easy to get used to the background noise and light pollution of the cities, but here in this cabin, it's pretty cool. So I stay here for a night and then get maybe a few hours of sleep. Hopefully the sleep goes well, and then I head to California.
Но так сложилось, что он стал. But we have its heat from solar panels because Father Seraphim told that there should be no. Ну, правда, ну вы тогда с ним, наверное, пойдете. Передать-то без проблем, просто вот мне, ну что, приехали.
Может быть, он захочет увидеть, да хотел бы увидеть.
Oh, thanks, guy. Gifts and dirt. Who did this? Who did this? Oh. I just got back from St. Herman's Monastery in Platina, California. This is a Russian Orthodox monastery established by Seraphim Rose. He was a convert to Orthodoxy. He was an American, and he died in the early 80s. Since Seraphim Rose is well known in the Orthodox world, I thought there would be a ton of people, but there weren't. There were maybe 5 pilgrims, including myself. Plus there was one visiting priest, but it was quiet, so I had a lot of time. I talked to 2 of the novices, and a novice is someone who's in the process of becoming a monk. I stayed for the Vespers, for dinner. There was a compline after that. And I was lucky enough to get time to talk to the abbot of the monastery, and the abbot is the head of the monastery. And I told him my life story, and he gave me some guidance. But the one thing is, I told him, I'm a little bit drawn to monasticism. And he says, well, from what you are telling me and what he can sense out of me, he said, the chance of you becoming a monk is probably a good 50%. And then he paused and said, maybe greater than that. So I said, okay. But we'll see what God has in store for me. I'm going to have to go back to the world for a couple of years after this tour anyway. They wouldn't accept such a spiritual baby, which I see myself as. I had a chance to talk to the abbot for quite a while, and I told him what the trends are down here in the degenerate cities, and I hope he got some value out of that. He actually advised me to get a book, and I'll show you the book he told me to read. Now, this actually happened when I was in Holy Cross Monastery. After talking to Father David for a long time, he told me, he gave me this book, Wounded by Love by Saint Porphyrius. Porphyrius. He's a Greek saint. And Abbot Damascene, he told me to check out this book, On the Providence of God by Saint John Chrysostom. And if you talk to a priest, a higher monk, he will see where you are in your spiritual path and then advise a book for you. So I take these book recommendations extremely seriously. Even if you're not in the Orthodox Church, and technically I'm not in the Eastern Orthodox Church, which this monastery is a part of. I'm in the Oriental Orthodox Church. But even if you're not in that specific church, you can still go there. Go for a visit, talk to the monastics. And for me on my trip, now this is my 3rd monastery, these have been the highlight of my trip. When I go back home, wherever home will be, I will take these spiritual visits to be perhaps the most important thing I've done, because I'm receiving guidance that's going to last way beyond this tour. So back into the world I go. San Francisco is next. I dread going there. I don't want to go there, but I have an event to do. That's where most of my readers are. They live in these horrible cities, so I will go to where they are and speak to them. And I hope my story, my ongoing story, it helps them. So onwards I go.
bearded hipster.
What's up, guys?
Gay.
I realized.
San Francisco has a lot of natural beauty based on where it was built. There's a lot of good views. You got the sea, you have the bridges and on and on. And it's not an inherently ugly place. On Friday night, I went to an area called Cow Hollow, and this is a well-to-do area. I was, dare I say, impressed at the beauty of the women. And by beauty, I mean the artificial beauty in terms of their makeup, their hair, their bodies. It was pretty high, actually, high enough to tempt me. And we were in front of I think a lounge called the White Rabbit. Note the Alice in Wonderland reference. There was like 4 girls for every guy. The old Roosh would have wanted to go in, start drinking, start hitting on the women. But the new Roosh only observed for research purposes. And then I went to the residential areas on the hills, and that seemed kind of nice too. And I thought, well, I thought San Francisco was this gigantic hellhole. But in the nice areas, it isn't bad. The only problem is this: it's really expensive. In that Cow Hollow place, a studio box, a really small one, starts at like $3,000 each month. And we were walking by townhouses that were millions of dollars. So if you have that tech money, yeah, you can enjoy some of the good here in terms of a livable area, beautiful people. But you have to be rolling in the dough. Then my event was in the downtown area and near what's called Tenderloin. It's not a piece of steak, it's a name of the actual area. And there's the San Francisco that I expected. You had the homeless, it was like Portland, but a little bit more concentrated. You had the tents, the stench, the urine. You had men walking around with their pants hanging down with no underwear. You can see their butt cheeks. And it's very dirty. And is that area getting bigger? Is it spreading? Is it starting to reach into the residential areas? I don't know. But usually it seems like the homeless stay close to the feeding centers where they feed them. So it looks like it's, I don't know, if I couldn't really see it. I saw, you would occasionally see the drifters and so on in the other parts of the city. But really it seemed hyper concentrated in the downtown area, in the Tenderloin area. And then after church on Sunday, I went to the Mission neighborhood. Now this is where the liberals, they worship at the altar of diversity and sodomy. This is it. That's their worship center. They idolize this neighborhood. And it's where you get all the hip, cool things. A lot of people in San Francisco have nose rings. That's the style here. I think the head of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, he has a nose ring too. So if you want to be cool, if you want to, announce to the world that your consumer choices make you a moral person, you get the nose ring and you move to the Mission. Overall, I feel like San Francisco is a little bit like Chicago, where it really depends on the neighborhood that you're in. And you can get some variance from one to the next. But if you're a millionaire, and by that I mean you have like 3 million or 4, you can find a good area here. You can find a neighborhood that's on the hills, that's too high for the homeless to climb with their shopping carts. You won't see doo-doo anywhere. But it's really expensive. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm worth $5 million and I buy one of these houses. What do you get in exchange? A taco truck? Maybe a good view? That seems like a ripoff to me, people. Pay millions of dollars for a good view. To be stuck in traffic for most of the time. Traffic here is really bad. But the highlight is I went to the St. John's Armenian church, and there the priest was a young guy. He was only maybe 2 years younger than me. And I have to be honest now, I like the priests who are younger. You would think you would want an old priest who's 60 or 70 because he's been on the spiritual path for longer. He has more experience, and that could be true. But the problem with the older priests is that they're boomers. And boomers, I don't dislike them, but their world, their upbringing was totally different than the upbringing of Generation X and the millennials. So when I'm talking to a boomer priest, does he really understand the problems I'm going through, the temptations that I'm facing? And, I don't ignore them or anything. I don't speak ill of them. But when I talk to a priest, I remember Father Justin in Salt Lake City. He seemed about the same age as me. It's like I connect with them a lot faster, even if they're a new priest. So, not to speak bad against the boomers, but a boomer priest, I don't know if that connection, if they can really give me the spiritual guidance I need. I'm not sure. If you have experience with a boomer priest that served you well spiritually, that is great. And I hope you can share that and other people can seek your boomer priest and get advice. But I like the Generation X priests. So that was, I had the opportunity to talk to him for a long time. I do feel I'm not too close to my Armenian culture. I'm learning, but I feel more at home in an Armenian church. People, they look like me. They see me as one of their own. I think this is how it feels to be a part of a somewhat homogenous community. But I'm still welcomed in the Eastern Orthodox churches too, and I plan to go to more of those. So overall, San Francisco wasn't that bad. I was expecting the worst. Portland is way worse. Portland is the worst city I've been to, but San Francisco, I expected worse. It wasn't, but you have to pay to play. If you want the good of what San Francisco can give you, you have to pay up the butt. So I don't plan on doing that. So goodbye, San Francisco. I'm going to Los Angeles next. And the event there is going to be big, just like it was here. So if you want to join in on my tour, go to Roosh.live and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.